All right, let's get into it. We are going to pull back the curtain on one of the most common, yet honestly, least understood things you do on your computer every single day. The simple act of copying and pasting. It feels instantaneous, doesn't it? Almost like a magic trick. You highlight something, hit a keyboard shortcut, and boom, it's just ready to appear somewhere else. Well, that simple little process is powered by an incredibly clever system that's always working silently in the background. And that system is the clipboard. And, while you probably think of it as just a temporary spot for words and sentences, the clipboard is actually way more versatile than that. Think of it more like a universal inbox for all kinds of data that your computer needs to shuttle around. And what's really cool is how it handles all this stuff. See, the clipboard isn't just holding some generic data. It's holding very specific formats of data. So whether it's a screenshot you just took, a file you're moving, or some fancy text from a website, the clipboard uses a different label, a different data type for every single job. Okay, so this is where things get even more interesting. Depending on whether you're on a Windows machine, a Mac, or running Linux, the whole philosophy of how this system works is completely different. It is absolutely not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. And you can really see that split right here. Windows, for instance, keeps things pretty straightforward. One main clipboard that handles everything, plus that super handy history feature. When you've got macOS, which has its main pasteboard, but it also spins up these special temporary ones for certain tasks. And then there's Linux. Under the classic X11 system, it can have 3 different clipboards all running at once. One of them even copies text the moment you highlight it. No key press needed. Okay, so let's build on that. On the surface, hitting Control-C and Control-V feels really intentional, right? But dragging a file across your screen, that feels more direct, almost physical. But what if I told you they are secretly the exact same operation? Well, here's the secret. Your computer uses its very own hidden specialized clipboard just for dragging and dropping. On a Mac, it's called the drag pasteboard, while Windows uses a specific file list format. The second you grab a file and start moving it, you're actually using this secret clipboard. So here's the bottom line. When you drag an item, your computer does an instantaneous copy to this secret clipboard. And the moment you let go of that mouse button, it performs a paste in the new spot. It is a completely seamless, totally invisible copy-paste that's happening in the blink of an eye. This is where the clipboard's true genius really shines. I mean, it's one thing to move a file or a simple line of text, but what about a whole chunk of cells from a program like Excel? With all its formulas, its special formatting, the colors, how does that work? The solution is just so elegant. Instead of holding just one version of your data, the clipboard holds multiple translations of that data at the very same time. It basically offers up your copied content in a bunch of different outfits, allowing any application to just pick the one it understands best. It's this beautiful 3-step negotiation that happens automatically. First, you copy your cells. Second, Excel puts a whole buffet of options onto the clipboard. You've got plain text, rich text, maybe an image of the cells, HTML, and of course, its own native Excel format. Then, third, when you go to paste, the new application just looks at all those options and says, "Ooh, I'll take that one." And this is exactly why pasting that same copy data looks perfect in another Excel sheet. It keeps its formatting when you drop it into Word. It looks like a nice table in an email, but it turns into just raw, plain text in something like Notepad. Every single one of those programs is looking at the same clipboard content, but they're each just picking the different translation that works for them. And of course, each operating system has its own lingo for labeling these different formats. Windows uses these descriptive names that are registered with the system, while macOS uses a more structured, almost web-like identifier called a UTI. But really, they both accomplish the same thing, letting all our apps talk to each other, richly and seamlessly. So, the big takeaway here is that this unseen choreographer is constantly working for you behind the scenes. It's the silent diplomat that makes sure all your different applications, from that super simple text editor to your most complex spreadsheet program, can actually speak the same language. It really is the unsung hero of our digital lives. It makes this fluid, interconnected experience possible. Without it, our computer would just be a bunch of isolated islands of data that couldn't communicate at all. It really gets you thinking, doesn't it? I mean, if just dragging a file is secretly this complex copy-paste operation, what other layers of incredible, elegant engineering are hiding just beneath the surface of all our everyday clicks and taps?